Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to the Esports Masters League. It is Season 7, it's the Challenge Cup, it is Round 5 of the Championship, it's the Brazilian Grand Prix. I'm in fine fettle, as you can tell. My name is James Head. I'm back in the commentary box after my illness, my flu that I had last week. The cough was absolutely horrendous. I'm back in the commentary box, though. Alongside me, of course, is the man who unfortunately has suffered an injury himself. It is Mr. Michael Edwards. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing okay, James. Fortunately, I'm able to be here for the final round of the championship. But it's good to be here, and hopefully we're in for an absolute treat here tonight.
I hope we're in for an absolute treat tonight as well, and hopefully everyone else is at home as well, because FRT 139 points over CPI on 136. Team TF10 not entirely out of it in third on 109. Then a bit of a jump down to Visio there in fourth on 71. Grand Track 10 and fifth on 65. Then it's VMV on 61. Alien Motorsport in seventh on 60. Esports Peck on 45. QSL in ninth on 39. And then 37 points for EVR. They're in 10th position. I am going to take us... Oh, I was going to take us live, but my Elgato is not working. There we go. There it is. We are now ready to go, and hopefully the drivers will be ready to go as well. But looking at the standings there we had, Mike, CPI out on top. Oh, obviously, FRT out on top. CPI alongside them, pretty much 3 points separating them. Team TF10 not too far off pace, are there? Three big teams there fighting it out in the top 3 positions.
Honestly, I mean, throughout the entirety of the season, you haven't been able to separate FRT and CPI. And as for TF10, they have just been closing in just bit by bit, and they've just been going about their business and just closing in little bit by little bit. Will they be able to completely overhaul the 30 points gap between themselves and FRT tonight? It's a tough call, but if any team can do it, you'd think TF10 would have a chance of doing it. But it's looking like a two-horse race at the moment, James.
It is looking like a two-horse race at the moment, which is good because FRT CPI obviously featured as part of EML last season. Same with Team TF10 as well. They're going to be featuring, I think, as part and signing up for next season for EML Season 8. More information to come by that as well in the intermission that we have. But as you can see on your screen, one-track qualifying is about to begin, and we normally go on board with a Hassman. And that's exactly what we're going to go on board with today, because we are on board with FRC Noban on the run down into the left-hand return number 1 here at Brazil, and that is not the way you want to start off your session. FRC have absolutely butchered that coming through turn number 1. We'll ride on board then with FRT's Agonize, now running down the hill towards Decina de Lago at turn at number 4. His first sector split 17.2 up there in the first sector from the FRT man. The Fiti also up there for EVE. George Ansel also up there. Inmore also up there. Finley up there as well. So the big protagonist really early on in this session definitely going to be up there as Agonize now comes through the right-hander into the right-hander now turn number 8, then to the left-hander of turn number 9 before we reach Bico de Pato, otherwise known as Duckbill Corner to you and me is translated to in English. Agonize now coming to the right-hander of turn number 10, now through Magulio in towards Junsao at turns 11 and 12. His middle sector split is a 51.5. Agonize clearly making a mistake early on, definitely running low on ERS, I've got to say as well. Now coming through the Torpedo Dust boxes, up the hill, through the left-hand at turn 14, now cascading the way down the hill where Alonso crashed, of course, in 2003, past there, coming now through turn 15, on the run-to line, George Antelad on top, a 106.9. I fear, with Agonized time there, I fear he forgot to put a setup on.
I mean, let's hope not, because it's going to be a long race for Agonize if he did forget to put a setup on. And it's going to be a long night for FRT.
Oh, Agonize was in lean fuel, apparently, according to Harvey. Harvey knows better than else. We didn't see that. George Ansel, though, out on top. He took pole position around here in PSGL PSF1 last season, if I'm not mistaken. The VT there in second, CPI Finley there in third, Asa there in fourth with GT10, Inwell there in fifth with Callum in sixth, Ben Benny there in seventh, Agonize there in eighth, Noble there in ninth after that early mistake. Absolutely butchered his lap time. A lot of invalidations being picked up as well. Knight and Turtle Master both crashing. Danny Gamer, Jacob Bowser and Kevin's all picking up invalid lap times on the board. So in the end, FRT not topping the session. It's EVE topping the session. It is George Antelad on top. And George is a master when it comes to Brazil. Unfortunately, that race that he did take pole position, or at least the front row of the grid on, he did end up finishing and DNFing within the first 10 laps. So, that's anything to go, boy. Good luck, George.
Well, I mean, I'm sure George will be looking at it and thinking, lightning can't strike twice on that one. But we'll knock on wood that everything goes okay for George Ansell this time around.
We will give it a couple of minutes, by the way, to try and get ready, just so we can try and run through everything that we haven't already. You will see the standings there on your screen right now. FLT, as I say, out on top on 139, CPI in second on 136, Team TF10 in third on 109 points. And what we can obviously say about this weather out on track, full blue skies, full sunshine. It is clear weather, I believe. So that means everything is going to come down to this race. Everything's going to come down to the next race, Mike. And as I say, we've got a very, very decent grid here for race one.
Yep, very decent grid for race number 1 here tonight. Obviously, actually, we're going to the 5 red light streams.
Catching me off guard, coming through in towards the 5 red light turn. But light turn away we go, and George Ansell gets a very good start. Not as good as Lafitte, though, who pulls alongside him, powers past him down in towards turn number 1. George Ansell there on the inside line, trying to hang on. Acid there in third, but it's a great start by Lafitte. Out on top from George Ansell in second. Acid there in third. Finley right on the back of CPI. There in fourth and already trying to get past Acid down the outside in towards the seat of the logo at turn number 4. Pretty much bump drafting there. George Ansell tries to go all the way around the outside. And the CPI man manages to pull it off. Brilliant move in the end. Thuney's up into third. GT10 did not know where that was coming. Nobody agonised the side by side up the hill in towards turns 5 and 6 as well. But Lafitte out on top. George Ansell there in second. Finley there in third. Will correct myself. George Ansell is not part of EVE. It's Lafitte that's part of EVE. And he's currently out-topping the man who's there in P2 for EVE, formerly of EVE.
It's difficult to keep up these days, James, when the amount of drivers now going from one team to another. It's difficult to keep up, but honestly, I mean, both drivers are doing a fantastic job right now, first and second. Finley doing exactly what he needs to do and making sure he's staying ahead of FRT.
Definitely staying ahead of FLT. Agonize had a very good start. He was fighting side by side, as I say, with Noban up the hill in towards turn number 6. Didn't pull off the move, and it's because he's on a set of medium compounder tyres. Noban, Ben, Benny, and Inwa straight ahead of him are on a set of soft compounder tyres. And the only 3 out there on that set of soft compounder tyres. Everyone else is on a set of mediums, which means very good things, but not if you TIE Callum, who has gone off there, the FGE man there down in 13th. He has gone off coming through turn number 2, Kazuki Nakajima style in 2008. And that is him in the wall, safety car deployed out on track.
Safety car deployed here on lap 2. And honestly, looking at how things are shaping up right now, James, do you think we'll be seeing people jumping in for a set of the hards? Do you think like Imwa, Ben, and Noban might jump in for a set of hards or mediums to the end?
It's possible, but I think they're going to be put in a little bit too early. If the safety car came out lap 5, lap 6, I would say yes, definitely. They're going to get to the end of the race. I'm not so sure that these hards will get to the end of the race. I know they're very durable around this track, but it's normally the medium compounder tyre you want to be on. I know Kevin's has came into the pit lane after an early skirmish further down the field. He's came in, I think, for front wing change right down there at the back of the field for Team TF10. We'll see what drivers do. Lafitte, George Ansell, both staying out. Finley, Acid are in. Ben Benny's also in. Ben Benny stays out. Noban stays out as well. Jacob Bowser staying out. Most of the drivers decided to come into the pit lane, go on possibly just at hard compounder tyres. But it's whether or not they can get to the end of the race, and it's whether or not as well, Mike. Lafitte, George, Ben Benny, for example, are getting told completely different things by their Jeffs.
Well, it's going to be interesting now, James. I mean, the mediums and the softs, not much has been taken out of them at this moment in the race. So they're still relatively fresh. So they will have some pretty good pace over the hards early on. And it's going to be a case of whether or not they're going to be able to claw back in the hards at the end of the race. It's going to be very interesting. Could be a very good race if you are EVE or TF10. And it could be a little bit damage limitation if you're CPI and FRT.
Yeah, to be honest, in terms of the championship picture as well, Agoni's down in 11th position early on, and then you've got Finley, who's 3 positions ahead of him in 8th for CPI, and then the other team in, because I forgot the championship standings, let me have a look, FRT, CPI, Team TF10. Team TF10 have currently got their driver back down at the back of the field in Kevin's. If I check this grid perfectly, it's not. It's George Ansel, in fact.
No.
It's George Ansel in second. Kevin's, who was formerly TF10, is a part of EVR. Confusing, I know. We didn't show you the grid graphics, so apologies. It is a bit confusing for me, trying to get back into the swing of things as well. But George Ansel there in second. Finley there in 8th. And who was it? Agonize there down in 11th position. All 3 of those drivers are very good on that day. George has taken track position over anything, but surely he's going to be absolutely gone towards the midpoint of the race, and it's just going to turn into 2 races for 1.
Well, I mean, this is where it's interesting with the tyres and everything, because obviously, as I said just a moment ago, like at this stage, the mediums and the softs, they ain't going to have much taken out of them. So they will have the pace advantage over the hard compound tyres at this stage in the race, especially when we get back going again. That could be enough for the likes of George Lafitte and Ben, Turtle Master, etc., to build enough of a gap that when they do come into the pits and put on, I would assume they would put on, maybe a softs towards the end, or maybe a set of hards that will just be 10 laps fresher. They will be able to just claw that gap in and then be able to make a move late on into the race.
Yeah, the thing is, though, they're going to lose so much time underneath the pit stops, and if there's no more safety cars in this race, as I say, that's where I'm leading with the 2 races for 1 scenario, where these guys do have to come into the pit lane in the top 6. They cannot get to the end of the race on a compound tyre, on the compound tyre that they're on. They have to come into the pit lane. Creates a whole scenario. Pit lane losses around about 19-20 seconds around this track, if I'm not mistaken. And that means you're going to be losing a lot of time. And that means Lafitte, George Ansel are all going to be losing time if there's no more safety cars in this race. As the safety car, speaking of which, is now coming in. Virtual Burt Malander has been called in, and it's now Lafitte who is the virtual safety car out on track. He can take the pace so however he wants. He can go at 1 mile an hour, he can go at 100 mile an hour. I couldn't care less how far he goes, to be honest. Hopefully he doesn't go at 1 mile an hour, because it's just everyone stopping out on track, and that is probably the worst possible scenario that'll ever happen. But Lafitte weaving, trying to get those tyres up to temperature. George Ansel right in behind him. We'll take you on board with George's perspective. On the run down in towards turn number 1, Lafitte's got a very good start compared to George. George is going to be under pressure from Ben Benny. He's got a really good start, using the ERS very early on to try and capitalise on the move down in towards turn number 1 on that set of soft compound tyres, but he can't make the move. Acid, though, does make the move around the outside of Danny Gamer through turn number 1. Bold, brave and brilliant from the GT10 man. Ahead of him, though, Turtle Master even. Noban and Ben Benny are going side by side. Lafitte will lead. George Ansel there in second. Ben Benny there holds on to third. Noban there in fourth. Danny Gamer very late on the brakes. Acid tries to go back around the outside. Turtle Master off the track.
Yeah, I think Turtle Master picked up a bit of wing damage here. I saw a green end plate just fly off, and yeah, he's missing the front right end plate.
And that's disastrous there from the kick-side, but down there in 13th, Danny Gamer again looking for the move on the back of Acid. Acid has had a really, really good start. It's almost as if he's on Acid, I think, off this restart, on the back of Noban, on the back of Ben Benny. So that whole compound of tyres definitely more durable early on. Danny Gamer's going to be struggling in terms of pace anyways. Gives Finley a good opportunity down the straight, but Acid has looked brilliant off the restart.
Yeah, and his overtake in towards turn number 1, he went around the outside of Finley through turn number 1, outbroke and went clean around the outside, and Danny Gamer just did not have the speed on the apex, so he went clean around the outside of Danny Gamer as well.
And there goes
2 for 1.
And there goes Finley to the inside line of Danny Gamer, speaking of which, to the inside line through turn 1, through the outside line now through turn 2. Danny is forfeiting a lot of time on Inmar, also on Agonize, in behind, and here comes Agonize to the inside line. Could be 4 wide down the straight, he's on the grass! Agonize, goodness me, in absolute agony for FRT. I think there was a bit of carbon fibre flying off in the background as well. Danny Gamer certainly getting caught up, and Turtle Master has retired, I think, coming out of the pit lane. So Turtle Master out of the race early on. Agonize, though, mental to try and go 4 wide down the straight. You can't even fit 3 wide down the straight, let alone 4. Agonize had to go literally lawn mowing on the grass. In the end, he's still behind Inmar, but somehow he's ahead of Finley.
Yeah, he managed to get a run up through Ferrajula on Finley there, and I don't know how he managed to get that run, but he got a fantastic run and was able to make that move stick.
I wonder if Finley had a little bit of contact potentially out on track, and that's why he's dropped behind Agonize. Lafitte, though, set to sight on his former EVE teammate George Ansel down in towards turn 1, sets a new fastest lap. The race was George. Doesn't matter because Lafitte takes the race lead off him, like taking candy from a baby. In towards turn number 1 as well. Noban, very late on the brakes on Ben Benny, gets the job done. He's into third. Ben Ben, though, coming back at him. The QSL man on the back of them. And look at Acid as well. Could be 3 wide down the straight. In towards the Cedar Lago at turn number 4. Ben Benny looks to the inside line, as does Acid. Noban backs out of that. Very fair play. Does Noban have right side end plate damage on that car? No, it's just my eyesight. Acid Thuni's into 4th, Noban there in 5th. Good move there by both GT10 man and QSL.
Yeah, and that's important for Acid to make these moves stick right now. He's got to get ahead of these soft runners ASAP because you're seeing the time they're hemorrhaging to the medium runners up ahead, James.
They are, and look at the gap. It's 3.4 seconds. Ben Benny is on the wrong compounder tyre, I think, at this stage in the race. On a set of softs. He is a slower driver naturally as well. Brings Acid, who is a very good driver on his day. He's been WR Legacy Division top 5, I think, at one stage this season. Acid now looks the inside line, like easy move in the end. And also there's a caution, yellow flag, sector 2 to Danny Gamer that's round. Coming through Biga Pato at the top of the hill at turn number 10. Noban sets his sights on the back of Ben Ben. Agonize gets through done on Finley, and Finley gets through done on Inmar. So positions changing all the time. As it stands right now, Finley's got right side end plate damage, which I don't think we mentioned. He's got right side end plate damage completely on that car. That's why he ended up behind Agonize, I think, earlier on. George Ansel leads the way. Lafitte second, Acid third. Great news if you're Team TF10, but you still have to come in the bits.
Yeah, probably great news right now if you are FRT instead of TF10 because you got CPI wounded right now behind Agonize. Doing his best to try and keep up with Agonize, but I think Finley will be hoping for another safety car, or virtual safety car at least, to try and get that front wing changed if possible. But Agonize down the inside though on no one. Job done on the exit maybe. No one holds it on the inside line as we head into Jinchao, and no one is going to hold that position, but up the hill I think Agonize will have the best of him here.
I don't think he does, because Noban looks like he's got the straight line speed coming through Speed Dust boxes, and he is pulling away visibly down the straight compared to Agonize. Now Agonize begins to get going. There's the hot lap mode, there's the overtake mode, pulls the inside line in towards turn 1. Surely FRT against FRC, job done. Agonize Thuni's into 5th. Really nice overtake that.
Yeah, and now he's put a car in between himself and Finley. Finley did get close in turn 1, but not close enough.
He goes for Ben Benny as well, Agonize, and he's into 4th. Really neat, tidy move there from the FRT man. That was a bit of Gavin Stacey coming in there as well. But Ben there in 5th, Noban in 6th, Finley there in 7th. Inwar looking very close to the back of Finley as well. With that right side of plate damage on that car, brings Inwar completely into play. Lafitte and George Ansel though, that gap is still going out. 4.4 seconds the gap. It was 4 seconds this time around, last time around on the lap. Finley tries to move on Noban. It is getting rather tense in the mid-pack, certainly. But if you're Lafitte and George Ansel, working together beautifully, having that former advantage, both being teammates, of course, a part of EVE, different teams now, but they're working together well as a team. Look at where Acid is. No man's land. Agonized. No man's land. You see where I'm going to go with this? George Ansel and Lafitte are not going to be as far back of what they could have been in the stage of the race if there was a safety car.
Yeah, as Finley and Inwar down the inside of Noban, both of them getting through. Job done in turn number 1. As Inwar now potentially might be having a little look at Finley on the run down into turn number 4 at the Cedar del Lago, and it's going to be job done before the break-in.
It is job done before the break-in indeed, and there is Kevin's getting the move done on Noban. Thuni's into 7th, Noban there down into 8th, Bowser up the hill in towards turn number in 9th position, in towards turn number 6. Difficult for me to say. You can tell I've been off a week. Jacob Bowser on the outside line tries to get the move done. In the end, he's got to watch out for Wario and Waluigi, I think, pulling off this move to the inside line. In towards turn number 10, Biga Pato. Can't find the way through. Knight looking like a knight in shining armor in behind, trying to get the move done as well for AMS. Cannot find the way through. Maybe in towards Junsao, can't find the move. But Jacob Bowser, down there in 9th position, treating this race a bit like Mario Kart at the minute.
And that is a racing game, James, that I am not very good at.
And I'll tell you what, this is a game that Jacob Bowser is very good at, but he gets run into the back by Noban in towards turn number 1, and Knight pulls off the move around the outside as a result of that contact. It's right on end plate damage for Bowser as well. clearly got caught up in an incident there in amongst that. Lafitte leads the way. George Ansell second, Acid there in third. There was a yellow flag, and I think it was for Ben who had spun.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, I'm not too sure. It doesn't appear to have lost a massive amount of time off the back of the pack.
Was it Danny then? Might have been Danny.
Potentially, Danny has lost a bit of time. I'm keeping an eye on this gap right now between George Ansell and Acid, James, and it seems to be stabilising now.
It does seem to be stabilising. Again, the gap has gone off briefly. It's 4.6 seconds. Gap is stabilising. George and Lafitte will be definitely aiming themselves to come in the pit lane very soon indeed. But look at the gap. They're working so well together. They're actually pulling away down the straights briefly. Acid they're now 4.6 seconds behind. Gap again stabilising. Inward to the inside line on Finley. In towards turn 1. Job done for him. He's third, into fifth. As Noban comes into the pit lane. So Noban into the pit lane. Not sure if he's got damage on the car, but the Hassman is into the pit lane for FRC. FRC, of course, I think signed up as part of EML for season number 8. There is a front wing change happening as well. I think it's the right side end plate that was hanging off for Noban. So his right side end plate damage is repaired. He's there down in the 11th position. Into the pit lane he will come. Is he ahead of Danny Gamer? Yes, absolutely country miles clear with Danny Gamer coming up, but...
Yeah, Danny Gamer, unfortunately, it's been a long race for him so far and been down in the back, and he also needs to make a pit stop at some point. So he's effectively another pit stop behind of where he is right now.
Definitely so. And would that mean now, obviously George Ansell, Lafitte first and second, do they decide to come in the pit lane now, cut their losses, go on a set of soft compound and tyre, or are they just going deep into the race, working together, as I say, very well indeed, out on track? Do they go deep into the race, go on a set of soft compound tyres, or do they just go for it, go on a set of softs? They're going to be 2.5 seconds quicker, potentially, in terms of the tyres. Are they going to forfeit their position to come in early, or are they going to come in the pit lane? Because if I'm them right now, and I'm seeing the gap between Acid and George Ansell, that gap is coming down. So if I was them, I'd be in the pit as Inmar gets the move done in Finley.
I mean, it's coming down. It's not coming down rapidly at this moment in the race. Now it's just stabilised at the moment. Although I think in the middle sector, if Acid's able to bring it down by a couple of attempts now, I think we'll be seeing both of them in. But right now, actually, he's just gained 2 attempts through turn number 8 there.
It's the cornering up where I think now Acid is beginning to gain that time. It's 4.3, 4.4, hanging around that. It is going to go out though. That gap is going to close very, very soon. And that would mean, for me, Lafitte, George Ansell are in the pit lane. No, they chew each other coming through turn 15. I thought they were going in the pit lane there. They didn't in the end. George Ansell and Lafitte clearly know each other well. They clearly figured each other out. Finley gets the move done at Inmar. Kevin's right on the back as well. Goes for the move, actually, on Inmar in towards turn 1. And it's job done around the outside. Nice move there by Kevin's. EVR definitely cooking up something special. The former TF10 man, they're in 6th for EVR currently. I know that was very difficult for me to say, but he is EVR. He's just running under a Team TF10 tags though.
Yeah, it's Jigger Rosa into the pits, fresh set of soft compound tyres, so he's made 2 pit stops in this race now.
He has made 2 in this pit stop indeed. I think that was Mike going for a bit of a sneeze there. Inmar on the back of Kevin's, looking to the inside line, in towards turn number 8. George Ansell and Lafitte still that gap, 4.4 seconds. They will be coming in the pit lane. Ideally, either this lap, next lap, or the lap after. They've got to go on a set of soft compound tyres. The much quicker tyre. They're not going to be too far off the back of Inmar, Kevin's, Knight, this sort of battle that's going on. The gap is extending between Finley and Agonize as well. That's going to help them along. So, it means, do they come into the pit lane? Yes, they do. They are both into the pit lane. That 14 out of 25! And Lafitte goes into the back of George Ansell. George Ansell gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I caught that, and I will definitely say from the steward's perspective, that is removable, because George Ansell made contact from Lafitte on his rear end. Lafitte, the Lafitte's front wing into the back of George Ansell. George overspeeds into the pit lane. That, for me, removable.
Yeah, TF10 will be breathing a sigh of relief that it was caught on stream and that it can be removed. But now we got to see what the pace is like. for George and Lafitte as they try to hunt down these hard compound runners up ahead.
10.2 seconds between himself and Knight, or George Ansel and Knight even, 7th and 6th. They are, at the minute, 14.3 seconds off the pace of the leaders Acid. Tyres are going to be going off for the set of hards. Tyres obviously are going to go off right at the end for the set of softs. If you were a betting man, Mike, and you, I know, have been in this position before around here in EML, the gap that's being closed in, they've already closed 1.3 seconds, 1.4 seconds, in fact, this lap around. Do you just go hell for leather on these tyres, force them to the end of the race, and then make up time? And are they going to make up time onto the back of the likes of Kevin's and Finley? That, I think, is going to be their first goal.
Well, I mean, what we got to remember as well, Finley is a little bit wounded at the moment with end plate damage on his front wing. So, I mean, I think Finley causing a little bit of a bottle train right now. Obviously, with his damage, has allowed the likes of Agonize and Acid to get away. I honestly don't know. I think, do you go hell for leather now, or do you save the tyres just a little bit and just naturally close in, then go hell for leather towards the end?
I would say probably go for hell for leather towards the end of the race. I'll be brutally honest. They've got to go and conserve the tyres initially, but I think with the gap closing down as it is, you just go hell for leather now. Break those tyres. If you don't get beyond, within the gap of a second tonight, it's not the end of the world. You're going to be within DRS range. These guys are going to fight aggressively. So this battle is going to come to them. It's just whether or not, if it does come to them. That is the question with what, 9 laps to go. Finley on the outside of Kevin's, down in towards turn 1. Easy as you like for CPR man through, and he's into 3rd position. At this moment in time, though, Michael Edwards, Mr. Agonize for FRT is currently outscoring CPI's Finley. And at this moment in time, that points difference, if I get up the point system here in EML Challenge Cup, it is a 3-point gain for FRT as it stands out on track.
Yep, 3-point gain for FRT, which means going into the second race, it'll be a 6-point advantage you'll have at the moment.
It will be a 6-point advantage that they have. The gap, again, Agonized to Finley. 2.9 seconds, it's sort of stagnating somewhat, but watch out for George Ansel in behind. 6 seconds the gap, another 1.2 seconds gain this lap around. Looking really good. Harvey's just invited me for Lobby 2. Thank you very much, Harvey. I will accept that as soon as this race is over. Acid out on top, Agonized there in 2nd, Finley there in 3rd. The gap between 2nd and 3rd is completely stagnant in my eyes. The gap between 6th and 7th, however, is closing rapidly. George Ansel, Lafitte working together very well. They're catching on the back of Knight. They're catching on the back of Inmar. They're now going to aggressively fight down in towards turn 1. As soon as I say this, Kevin's the inside line, as does Inmar on the inside line of Finley. Bit of contact between them both. The CPO man hangs it around the outside. There's a good news if you're George Ansel and Lafitte right in behind, because you're going to be gaining so much, 10th of a second, coming down towards the Cedar Lago at turn number 4. Knight on the back of Inmar. Again, aggressively fights, goes on the grass himself. Inmar pretty much a full car length ahead. Knight, I think, should have backed out a lap briefly to say perfect news for if you're Lafitte and George Ansel right now, because you're just gaining hand over fist in terms of the time.
Yeah, I think Knight there just trying to keep his nose in just a little bit too much at that point there, but definitely not the best of moves for Knight to be in that position. But fortunately for him, no damage on that car, and he's still within the DRS train.
Still within the DRS train, indeed. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to send this over to Harvey, which is the Lobby 2 lineup, so he can actually invite people. That'll be a big help for everyone. And that will be as soon as we finish here. We'll go live for Lobby 2, of course. It will stay in the same stream. Of course, I will have to go and fill my water bottle up, so there will be a little bit of an intermission. As it leads the way, Agonized there in 2nd. Gap 2 tenths gain for Agonized over Kevin's. Agonized as it stands. FRT are gaining, what, 5 points now, I think, in terms of the standings? Yeah, 5 points currently, or 4 points even, as it stands over Finley. Finley there down in 4th. 2nd position. In fact, no, it's 6 points that they're gaining right now. FRT, hand over fist gaining. Look at the gap, though. Lafitte, George Ansel, 2.5 seconds. They're getting within a second before the end of this race.
Yeah, and this is not good if you are CPI, because obviously you got Agonize, who's now within DRS range of Acid. he can maybe try and save up a little bit of that battery and then go for acid towards the end of the race. And then you got the soft runners, Lafiti and George Ansel now getting onto the back of this train, probably in the next 2 laps, I'm going to say, James. And those two are going to be, they're going to be on it like a proverbial car bonnet, trying to make these overtakes happen. So they'll be on Knight immediately, they'll be on Inwar immediately, and then Finley with that damage as he goes to number 1. Kevin's down the inside, job done.
And
but
Knight is into the pit line. Interesting. Very, very strange. You could have got those to the end of the race. Finley's there into 3rd, Kevin's there in 4th, Inwar there in 5th. They're not going to fight, I don't think, in towards the Cedar Largo. The gap now 2.8 seconds. Knight has came in the pit lane, set us off compound tyres on the car. He should be getting ahead of Ben Benny. But in the end, AMS have called him in and thought, I'm not getting to the end of the race here on these set of hards. I've got no chance to fight against Lafiti George Ansel. So they've decided to pit him in. He's ahead of Ben Benny, which is good, but he's just forfeited so many points in so many positions.
I mean, maybe they were looking at it of a case of Lafiti and George Ansel were going to get through regardless. So maybe pit for fresh sauce and maybe try to snag the fastest lap.
Yeah. I will just reply to this for a second. There we are, that's done. Acid leading the way, Agonised 2nd, Finley down in 3rd, Kevin's again in Inwar. About to battle out, I think, down in towards turn 1. They're closing very quickly. In fact, on Finley, could be 3 wide down in towards turn 1. Kevin's on the outside line! Oh, they make contact! And they're all out! Inwar, Kevin, Finley, safety car deployed out on track. What on earth happened there? It looked like Kevin's had the outside line. It looked like Finley came across at him. There's been an absolute car crash down the straight in towards turn number 1. One of the weirdest incidents you will ever see in EML, in the Challenge Cup, in Esports Masters League, ever. Shouldn't happen down the straight. Kevin's had the outside line. He had the overspeed. Finley, it looked like they just caught wheels. Rear end against rear end, I think. They've caught wheels. Inwar's the unlucky party. All 3 of them are out. And all 3 teams are going to be fuming. It's huge for the championship. CPI out of the race. FRT's been handed this on the silver platter. In fact, they might already win the championship as it stands.
Yeah, and another thing as well for TF10, if George comes into the pits, he has to serve that 10 seconds. So he won't be able to get that removed if he comes into the pits and serves it.
He does, but this is going to be interesting. George Ansel there, 10 seconds. Does he bail, come in the pit lane, and come out ahead of Knight, is what we're thinking. Acid and Agonised are into the pits. So if that's anything to go by, George Ansel and Lafiti, both will be in. Fresh set of soft compound tyres in the car. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're going to be surely well ahead of Knight. They're going to remain in track position. Good news for George Ansel, gets rid of that 10-second penalty, doesn't complain to the stewards because he needs that 10-second penalty removing. It probably would have been removed anyways. So now he forfeits the 10 seconds. He could drop behind Knight and Ben Benny, maybe?
I think Knight might get Lafiti as well.
Let's have a look. Lafiti's on the pit lane exit, and Knight is ahead. He is. So yeah, Knight's doing his into 3rd. In the end, what looked like a strategy call from the absolute... well, it looks like a strategy call from the absolute gods now. In there in 3rd. And Knight is all of a sudden looking very, very good on himself. And AMS are now looking like absolute pied paupers rather than being further down the field, dropping points, dropping positions. They're now in 3rd and potentially on course for a podium.
And I'm not going to lie as well, DLX with Danny Gamer by here, I'm not sure what the strategy was there, because if Danny had stayed out instead of following the leaders into the pits, Danny would have been able to unlap himself and then get back into the race tidy.
Yeah, and that's what I think he's hoping for still. Obviously, he's on the back of this train. In fact, he is in the middle of this train right now as it stands. And that brings in... because obviously he's a lap down. He is ahead of George Ansel, I believe, out on track. He is indeed. He's ahead of George Ansel. Adds a little bit of potential controversy into the mix. Potential incidents going to be had. Hopefully he'll get out of the way, though. Hopefully he doesn't interfere with how the racing is going to develop in the final 3 laps of this race. Acid leads the way. Agonised there in 2nd. Knight in 3rd. Let's just go back to that car crash, though, because it is all kicking off in the chat. And in the end... Kevin's tries to go on the outside line. in my eyes, what's just been mentioned there by CPI, it looked like he was off track to me. And they've made contact in the end, down in the straight, in towards turn 1. It's going to be decided by the stewards, but in the end, when you've got two cars at a closing speed, probably 20 mile an hour more than the CPI man, there's got to be some level of thinking, should I really attempt this move? And should I really go for it? And that's the questions that's going to be overhanging all three of them, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And time will tell them to see what the stewards make of it. But for right now, CPI out of this race. FRT have the championship handed to them on a silver platter by you.
They have. And that's why I think CPI are so furious at both Inwar and both Kevin's as well, which they have every right to speak, completely understand it, but at the end of the day, they've got to leave it to the stewards. If the stewards that decide all the incidents, we and the stewards can only decide what is in front of us in terms of the evidence. That is where we are going to leave this at. But with 2 laps to go, safety cars coming in, Acid leading the way, Agonize second, Knight in third. Mike, even, not Matt. Why was I calling you Matt there? Agonize there in second. FRT, we're going to need you to do a bit of quick maths, I think, with how it stands right now. Because at this moment in time, FRT are outscoring Team TF10. Big news then. Team TF10, I think, will be out of the picture. Means, I think, with the DNF for CPI, FRT won the championship into the final race? Maybe.
Yes, so the maximum points would be 24 points. They're gaining 18 right now. Obviously, fastest lap could also go the way of FRT, but we are back in the way, James. So I'll do some quick maths real quick. Well, you take us through the restart.
Yeah, final 2 laps of the race about to begin, and Agonizer's already setting up. Acid down in towards turn 1, looks the inside line, can't find the way through. Acid there leading the way, but he is on the fresher set of soft compounded tyres. They're both on the fresher sets, in fact, compared to Knight. Knight on the back, though, is using his EOS to good effect. Agonizer's going to have to defend, hopefully pull off one move defensively. Knight on the outside line tries to get the move done. Agonize and him make contact. Lafitti's going to get the up and under on both of them. Gets Looney's into second. All changes complexion once again. Lafitti now ahead of Agonize. Now George Ansel comes into play. Goes up the inside of Knight in towards turn number 6. And Ferradura all out of shape there. Is Knight waltzing on his way through George Ansel. Looney's into 4th. Really, really good. In terms of the action, maybe not so, because Knight makes contact there with the back of George Ansel, looks to the inside line, can't find the way through. They're now both battling each other and absolutely hitting each other. Nearly off the track. Knight nearly goes Kimi Raikkonen 2012 style. Acid leads the way though, going into the final lap of the race. Lafiti there in second, Agonize there in third. Quick drink from me. Bowser there on the back of Ben Benny, looking to try and get the move done. In towards turn number 1. Acid though leads the way, Lafitti second, Agonize there in third, George Ansel in 4th, Bowser there in 5th, Ben Benny there in 6th, as it stands.
Well, I can say this right now, James, as it currently stands, it is not enough for FRT to wrap it up.
Do they need the win, is what I'm thinking.
So if he was to take second with the fastest lap point, it does mean that unless CPI can get absolute pure maximum points, which I think both teams are level as well on race wins, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Lafitti. Oh, somebody cut you off, mate. Lafitti's all out of shape on the back of Acid. We're going into the final couple of corners on the final lap of the race. Lafitti might get Acid coming through the left-hand with John Saab. He's going to have the pace all the way down the straight. He's going to have the ERS as well. This is now crucial for EVE in terms of their championship hopes with Team TF10. Acid, has he got enough on the run to the line? Here comes Lafitti. It's going to be tight to the line, but Acid takes the race win. Lafitti in second. Agonize barely hangs on for third to Team TF10's George Ansel. They're in 4th, 300th of a second in the end, covering 3rd and 4th position. In the end, nearly tied, quite literally across the line. FRT outscore Team TF10, but at the moment it's not enough, is what we're saying.
Yeah, obviously the gap was 3 points heading into the first race here tonight, and FRT have just managed to pick up 15 points, so the gap is 18 points going into the second race.
Yeah. Which is going to be really interesting, I think, to see how everything is going to go on. But in the end, there's only one man that can take it out on track, and it is GT10 Acid. He had an absolute phenomenal race, I think, in the end. Did a phenomenal job, overtook very cleanly in terms of the action. That 3 wide moment obviously had that down the straight. That's going to be decided by the stewards for sure. But in the end, all of the big teams, FRT, CPI, Team TF10, falling by the wayside. GT10, who are 5th in the standings, I believe, take the race win with Acid.
And that'll be an interesting one.
I haven't got the results, by the way.
Yeah, same. It's gone past me, but I can have a little look back on the OBS real quick on that, just so I can go through the order field.
If you can, I will get my way over to Lobby 2 as well. I will invite you in very soon. And that means we're going to go for an intermission break. I need to fill up my drink. I also need to get a throat menthol or something for the second half. We're going to be back with you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to Esports Masters League. I was going to say WR for a brief second there. Esports Masters League. It is Season 7. It's the Challenge Cup. It is Round 5. It's Brazil. It is race number 2 here in Brazil as well. That graphic is slightly out of date now because, of course, the standings have come through. FRT still lead the championship. It's not enough, however, though, Mr. Michael Edwards, for them to wrap it up. So it goes to the final race.
Yeah, absolutely. However, the gap has been swung dramatically into their favour as they come into the second race with an 18-point lead. And CPI not only going to be trying to claw down best as possible, they need to keep an eye on the team behind them, TF10, because they gained big on them in Brazil in the first race. So, I mean, TF10 are not out of the question in terms of finishing second here.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, I think, to see. Obviously, CPI Team TF10, it's going to be that battle, I think, that it starts to swing to once again. FRT look like they've got maybe one hand and 4 fingers on the other hand on the title, and they're just trying to wrap around that little finger to try and wrap up the trophy. But in the end, FRT did very, very well out on track. I fear, though, for their lineup, because we can have a look at the lineup coming into tonight for race 2. They have got Supply Raptor in the lineup, who is normally decent around this track. He is not quick, though, around this track. Compared to CPI, who have got Fraser, who has won around this track before, been on the podium around this track before. Very strong lineup from them perspective. Team TF10 have got Tales in, who is a Brazilian, absolutely loves this track, absolutely signed himself off on this track as well. For me, Team TF10 and CPI have got a stronger lineup than FRT. Hopefully, I might be proved right by that.
I mean, the good thing for FRT is the fact that they do have that point advantage. So even if TF10 and the CPI don't have the advantage in terms of their driver for the race number 2, they have that point advantage to play with. And as long as they play their cards right, it will be difficult for them to lose that point advantage.
Definitely so. The 30-second countdown has now come onto the screen, which means we can go to the blazing blue sky here in Brazil. It is going to be really intriguing, I think, to see how everyone gets on. It is going to be race 2. Everything is now going to kick off once again. It's been kicking off on the Discord between CPI, BMP, and EVR as well with that incident down the straight. Hopefully no repeat of that once again, but we are going to go on board. I think it's normally with the FRC, man, so we're going to go on board with Dima, I think. Hopefully, not like Noban catches the grass in towards turn 1 and spins the car. Let's run on board with them then, down in towards the left-hander of turn number 1. We'll see how Dima does. Misses the apex there through turn number 1, through the right-hander of turn number 2, through the left-hander of turn number 3. Pretty much looks like me, I'm going to be honest, coming through turn numbers 1, 2, and 3. Monza right up there along with Mathis, Lorenzino. None of the big teams are actually up there. As soon as I say that, though, Fraser now out on top in terms of the session. Tales dropping there down into 6th position as well. We'll actually flick on board with Fraser running up the hill in towards turn number 6 here at Ferradura. Nearly gets caught wide coming off the apex. Now until the right-hander of turn number 8, Laranja. Running down the hill, through the left-hander now of turn number 9, then in towards Beacon of Battle at turn number 10. Slight snap of oversteer there by Fraser. Coming in towards turn number 10. Supply Raptor beginning to gain. Tales beginning to gain as well and behind. But at the minute, Fraser holds the advantage to CPI. This could swing back in their favour. Supply Raptor, though, brilliant middle sector in the background as well. Fraser, though, now up the hill along with Monza. Looks like it's XPG against CPI and the McLarens against each other. Running now down the straight in towards turn 15. On the run toward the line with CPI Fraser. Are CPI out on top? Oh, yes, they are. 2 tenths clear of Monza in the end. 4 tenths clear of FRT Supply Raptor. And in the end, didn't see what happened there with Tales, but I think he's qualified in 5th.
I'm not gonna lie, that's
4th.
the best way to start for CPI here. They were able to get that pole position point.
Look at that, Tales and Exotic Planes. You can't get closer than that. Same lap time on my screen. 1/100th of a second, not even covering it. Same lap time. Tales crossed the line before Exotic Planes. He gets 4th. Exotic Planes gets 5th. But it's Fraser out on top from Monza there in 2nd. Supply Raptor there in 3rd. Tales there in 4th. Exotic Planes there in 5th. Checkered there in 6th. He'll be looking for the flag after this race. Mathis there in 7th. Lorenzino in 8th. Gabza 9th. Rizal top 10. Then it's Dima, Dax Daxi, Cali Blue Balls at times. S29M, XPG further down the field. And then the other man, who I didn't quite catch who it was, also DNF out of that session. Was it QSL? I think it might have been the QSL driver.
I think it was QSL.
Oh no, was it Gabsa? No, I think I already covered Gabsa. I'm
Oh no,
confused.
Gabs is a QSL lad.
I'm confused. I'm confused. But yeah, it is going to be an interesting race now. Obviously, FRT swinging in their favour, but in terms of that qualifying session, Mike, CPI out on top, 2 tenths clear of nearest rivals in second, 4 tenths clear of FRT. I think that's job done, personally, from CPI. They just need to now try and back that up in a 25-lap race.
Yep. First job for CPI done. Get pole position, get our pole position point. Gap now 17 points. And what they need is they need to hope now that FRT have a bit of a rocky race in the same way that they did in race 1 here.
Yeah, it's going to be rather intriguing. Obviously, it has gone down to the final race of the championship. That's what we expected it to go within the Challenge Cup. We've seen in terms of the strategies as well. Some drivers might start on a set of softs. Some drivers might start on a set of mediums. I would assume, though, Mike, most drivers will start on a set of mediums. And if it's anything like a race, which is normally around here in Brazil, and it's normally quite hectic, it should be set of medium compounded tyres just before the second half of the race, then onto a set of hards towards the end, or you can push it out, go for a set of softs, maybe last about 9 or 10 laps on them.
Yeah, maybe. So obviously, like I'm looking now to kind of run the numbers at the bare minimum what FRT needs to do to take victory here tonight. And to my maths, believe if they finish top 10, they win regardless.
Here we go. Final race of EML Challenge Cup about to begin, and it is... Lights out and away we go. Monza gets a very good start compared to Fraser. Fraser gets a better second half of the start, and now cascades his way down in towards turn 1 in the lead. The CPR will lead. Monza there in second for the other McLaren team. Supply Raptor in third. Talas there in fourth. Really good battling actually going through turn 1 between FRT and Team TF10. Team TF10 on the back of FRT. Supply Raptor down the straight into the left-hander now. In turn number 4, Deceiver the Lago Lorenzinho trying to get involved there with Mathis. Mathis runs out wide. Has a little bit of a ghosting moment, I've got to say, with Checkered running up the hill, now into the right hand of turn number 6. It's a great start for Fraser, leads the way. Monza there in second, Supply Raptor in third. Don't get me confused, there is desync going on between Mathis and Checkered, however.
Yeah, I am definitely seeing some unsafe driving right here between Checkered and Mathis, as it is very Peggy 18. It's a safety car to the plate.
It is very, very Peggy 18 indeed. And in the end, it's Daxi who was crashed coming through the left-hander turn number 9. How on earth has he done that? Coming out of turn number 9, or coming into turn number 9, he's crashed. It must have been on the right-hand side and just having a big snap of oversteer coming out of the apex. In the end, he's out of the race. Poor start for the Kick Sauber team there. Daxi out of the race. Safety car deployed out on track. Deja vu all over again as everybody is bailing into the pit lane.
Yep, everyone into the pit lane, and I suppose that the one good thing is that everyone has come into the pit, so they must have been watching race 1 and saw that staying out under safety car conditions might not help you as much as you think.
Do you want to put out a message in Discord, by the way, saying that Mathis and Checkered are lagging? They're not next to each other out on track now, which is good. Actually, no, they are. They're 4th and 5th. I would just put a warning out, maybe just make them realise that they're desynced in the lobby, which is not great for us. But yeah, Fraser leads the way, Supply Raptor in second, Checkered there in third. We'll get the tyres and everything up, because we haven't. Everyone was on a set of mediums, I think, and now they're all on a set of hard compound tyres, the boring bunch, because they are getting, hopefully, toward the end of the race, on this compound tyre. Fraser, though, leads the way. Supply Raptor there in second, Talas there in third. On my end, Mike, just to try and big up on that, Mathis is the one that's lagging on my end, rather than Checkered. So,
so just Mathis, is it?
It is just it's Mathis on my end, but I would just put a message out just saying, you're desyncing, just be aware. Be aware of each other, because we don't want any PG-18, and I know probably half of you in the chat right now are probably under the age of 18. You don't want to be seeing what we're seeing out on track. We're old enough to understand what's going on. You guys might not be. Fraser out on top, Supply Raptor in second, Talers there in third. What I will come on to, though, with all jokes aside, is how the front three currently is out on track. It's CPI, it's FRT, it's Team TF10. It's exactly where we want the championship rivals to be. As I think Mike has disappeared, or is he here? Oh, and Mathis has got a 10-second penalty for collision with Monza. Terrible. Terrible there for Mathis. They're down in 5th position. Fraser, though, out on top from Supply Raptor second, Tellers there in 3rd. I'm sure we'll get Mike back very soon indeed. And Monza there is not in the wall, because I think that's Mathis that has just lost his left side end plate. It is. It's Mathis that has lost his left side end plate. Coming through the left-hander there at turn number 4. Big lag spiking going on from the EVE man at this moment in time. They're in 5th position. Not great news if you're anybody behind him or in front of him, because he's actually retired out on track. That's fair enough. Mathis retires out on track and doesn't want to pose a threat to anybody out on track. Clearly retires out on track. That, in what could have been a really bad scenario, Mike, is the best thing that could have happened.
What's called? There has been someone in the chat as well about Checkered as well. Potentially Checkered is desynching as well, so we have to keep an eye on that. I remember it was both of them that we did see earlier, but he seems stable to me. I don't know if he's still stable to you, but it was put in the Discord as well about Checkered.
Yeah, I think Checkered looks fine at least. If we get back up to racing speed, obviously it'll give us a big influence. But for me, it was Mathis the one that was lagging rather than Checkered. Mathis has done completely the right thing there. Retired out on track. It was posing a threat, and in the end, it's took him, what, a lap to retire? That's exactly what we expect to try and call as the stewards out on track and try and watch over the action. At the end of the day, he was posing a big threat towards everyone else. Fraser, though, out on top, though, Supply Raptor in second. Tellers there in third. Running now down the straight in towards turn number 1, we will go. Fraser is leaving this very late indeed, the CPI man. Is he going to go Magello style? Yes, he is. He goes now. Down in towards turn number 1. The CPI man gets a really good start. Not a great start for Colour Blue, who's leading the wall in the background. Fraser leads the way through turn number 1. Supply Raptor there in second. Talers there in third. Talers all over the back of Supply Raptor. Coming out through the straight, down the hill, in towards the Cedar logo at turn number 4. It's a great restart as well from Exotic Plains, who's on the back of Gabsa in the background of shot as well. Looks the inside line. Don't think he's going to pull off the move. Lorenzini looking close on the back of the XPG man of S29. S29 in the end holds the position, 9th position. Everyone fine. Fraser out on top, Supply Raptor second. Talers there in third. Checkered, however, losing the position to Monza. And in the end, he looks fine on my end in terms of the any desync. So he looks fine.
Yeah, Monza getting the jump on Checkered immediately, and Gabza getting a little bit pinched onto the inside curve through turn 1. Oh, as Monza said, went down the inside. Oh no, sorry, Checkered down the inside of Monza. Sorry, the other way round. A little bit of a bump pass, if you ask me, there, James.
Yeah, potentially so. The AMS man threw these into 4th. Well, there's a will, there's a way. Monza has got damage, by the way, I think, on the left side end plate, if I'm not mistaken. Running down the straight in towards turn number 1. He has. He's got his left side end plate completely missing. So he had to force that move. I think AMS have been told, possibly listening to us on countback, that he did have damage. He does have damage on that car. Gabs are now open to the opportunity to pass him. Monza, though, not great news if you're in the McLaren team in the second McLaren team right now. You're in 5th, you've got damage, you're just going to have to try and fight and cope and hope to try and get to the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely, and that damage is going to be hindering him, that is for sure. And to be fair, I was on board with Monza during the safety car restart. Well, I didn't actually see if he hit the back of Checkered in that situation, but I did hear the audio of a little bit of car-on-car contact, so maybe he's had that damage since the safety car restart.
I think he has. I think he went in the wall, actually during the safety car. Dima has spun, coming through the left-hander at turn number 9, in towards turn number 10 at Beacon of Pato. Has the car got beached there, coming through turn number 10? No, he's gone back going. Right side end plate damage on the car. Dima there down in 13th, unlucky for some for him. Running now down the straight in towards turn number 1. We go though with CPI Fraser. Supply Raptor second, Tales in third. all just trying to work each other out. Gabs are certainly trying to work Monza out down in towards turn number 1, and we've seen a carbon copy. Even worse, I think, than that. Monza in the end and Gabs are into the wall. What on earth are they playing about down in towards turn number 1? I'm going to throw it out there. That to me looked partly intentional. Just throwing it out there.
I'm going to have to have another look at that. I'm going to have to rewind the Elgato and have a little peek at that one.
Disgraceful driving, no matter if there was an incident down the straight. That's twice in 2 races in one night. That we've had an incident down the straight in towards turn 1, pretty much same place, pretty much same level of contact, and in the end, both of them in the wall. Gabs are there in 11th, I think, has got away from that scot-free. Monza hasn't, but in the end, Gabs has spun. His tyres are completely gone. On that set of whole compound of tyres, completely gone. He gets the car back going again, but I'm fathomed as to what happened there, to be honest. It was an incident down the straight, in towards turn 1. There was contact, and then there was more contact, and then it looked a little bit intentional. That's how I saw it.
So, I just, had a little look back and I reviewed the footage now on the replay cameras. And from what I saw, it looked like Gabza went off the track to try and overtake for the outside line into turn number 1. There was no room on the outside enough for him to go. And he's kind of tried to force his way on the track, and that's caused the contact with Monza. And it all went pear-shaped from there.
It all went pear-shaped indeed, and from there, and it's got even worse because I've just put in a message saying what bad sons are driving sorted out in the Discord publicly so everyone can see. I'm not happy with that. Gabs is clearly not happy with that because he's got damage on the car. That is him there down in 11th position, and that is him out of the race. So Gabs retires out of the race. Fraser there leading the way. Supply up to 2nd. Talis there in 3rd. I will remind everyone that this is a serious championship. If you expect these levels of driving in EML Season 8, you will not even get a place. Your team will not even get a place. So be warned. If you're driving bad now, in the Challenge Cup, it's going to have a knock-on effect for driving standards in EML Season 8. And I do not want that. We do not want that as part of the commentary team. Sort it out. Otherwise, I will force you to sort it out. And that is the end of the matter in my eyes. Fraser out on top, Supply up in 2nd, Talis in 3rd. One thing that we do have, Mike, though, is the front 3 exactly where they are, and the championship battle exactly where it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm giving you the opportunity for the replay camera if you.
Oh, this'll lag on OBS. I'm not even trying it. It's already at, what, 46% CPU? Yeah, I think I might just die the stream if I try to access that. I'll have a look at it afterwards, though.
Okay, no worries.
Alright, so that made out of 25. Fraser out on top, Supply up to 2nd, Talis there in 3rd. As I say, championship picture is exactly where we want it to be. It's just a shame that it's been overshadowed by relatively poor driving, I think, from Monza and Gabs' perspective. I'm not going to put blame onto anybody. As I said, I will review the footage afterwards. I will change my opinion more than likely afterwards as well. But in the end, one thing is clear. Standards of driving, not good enough. Repeat that in Lobby 1, repeat that in Lobby 2. Standards of driving for Brazil, for the final race of a very serious championship in EML Challenge Cup. It's a good job there wasn't any prize pool or anything for this. But it's a serious championship, and it has a knock-on effect for EML Season 8. So if certain drivers and if certain teams are misbehaving, and their driving standards drop, that's going to have a knock-on effect for potential place in qualifiers and for potential place in EML. End of the day, we want the best of the best. You guys want to see the best of the best. And we can't have that if we're having incidents down the straight, which should never happen in sim racing and should never happen in Formula 1. As a safety car, so cleaning this lap.
Yep, and right now, James, I mean, championship is right where it needs to be in the top 3 in the championship, top 3 on track. But right now, it is looking very, very good for FRT. And with obviously the number of drivers out of this race so far, it's looking unlikely that they're going to finish low enough to not get enough points to keep the championship, as we're back to green flag racing, and Fraser's absolutely left Rapper, absolutely snapping on that restart.
Napping on the restart indeed, and Geekin looking to the inside on, and it's S29. It's a bit of a car park through turn number 1. The Aston Martin just about comes out on top. He's there in 6th position. Lorenzino gets through and he's into 7th. GT10 will be looking to try and get positions throughout the field. Lorenzino, very good driver from their perspective, as Rizzo looks the inside line on S29 in toward the left-hand of turn number 4. The smoke being very hard to see there. Nobody pulls off a move though. Fraser still leads. Supply Raptor in 2nd, running up the hill in toward Ferradura and then in toward Lorana at turn number 8. Tales there in 3rd, the homeboy hero for Team TF10 there in 3rd. Very quiet restart up until about 6th position.
Yep, absolutely. And let's go with what I was going to say, James, obviously, before the restart and I got us back in the way. FRT, with obviously the number of retirements we've had so far in this race, as long as they can see the checker flag, they're looking good to taking the championship.
They are looking good to take the championship, and do you know what? Supply Raptor's on the back of Fraser, running down in towards turn 1, and is he going to breeze past him? Look at the closing speed. Easy overtake this should be for Supply Raptor, down the straight, in towards turn number 1, and that is the FRT Manthuni's into the race lead. Perfect positioning, perfect car placement there from Supply Raptor. Monza, Gabsa, learn a lesson, because that's how you drive turn number 1. Supply Raptor leads the way. Fraser there in 2nd. Tales there in 3rd. Tales looking to the back there of Fraser. Can't find the way through. Checkered runs out wide though, just on the very late on the apex there. Not sure if there was a bit of contact actually between him and Exotic Plains. Forza checkered out wide, and look at Lorenzino trying to take full advantage as well. To the inside line, through turn number 6, tries to get the job done there. Through turn number 8, Lawanha. The GT10 man pushing the Exotic Plains off track. Exotic Plains fights back, not having any of that. The RB man, he's through into 5th. Lorenzino tries again, never going to pull that one off. Exotic Plains through into 5th, being a very exotic man out on track with that overtake.
Yeah, Exotic Plains there getting the move done. Holding on to P5 as Lorenzino tried to come back at him. And honestly, Lorenzino on those medium tyres, he's trying to get a bit of a wiggle on. He's trying to get a move on now up this order as quickly as possible.
He is indeed, and look at Tales on the back of Fraser as well, looking for the move down in towards turn number 1, not going to pull it off. Dima set to pass the lap of the race, and Fraser goes into the back of Supply Raptor. Was that carbon fibre being kicked up there from the CPI man? No, it wasn't. In the end, Supply Raptor's just let him go. Fraser into the lead of the race, Supply Raptor 2nd, Tales there in 3rd. FRT clearly engineer, whoever the engineer is, or Fraser nearly loses it through turn number 4, gets it back going again. The CPI man's still out in front. Jesus, these guys are giving me a heart attack. How did he save that? How did he save that?
on the absolute ragged edge of grip and control right there, but Fraser doing fantastic to hold on to his car. Simply Raptor still in behind us. Tal is still in behind Simply Raptor, and Checkered holding on to P4 right now. He's actually doing a very good job in P4 as Lorenzino now on the back of him in P5 on those medium tyres, looking to climb up the hill, maybe climb up an extra position here, as DRS will be wide open for him as run down into number 1.
Supply Raptor going for the inside line. Might be the case where Tales might have to go for the move as well. The closing speed is too inferior for the TF10 man. Pulls the inside on the CPI man. Could be good for FRT if they make contact. In the end, they don't. Fraser holds 2nd. Tales there in 3rd. Tales again on hot lap mode, running down the straight in towards turn number 4 at the scene of the logo. Looks to try and get the move done. In the end, though, Supply Raptor, Fraser, Tales hold position. Hold sway for 2nd and 3rd position. Checking Lorenzino 4th and 5th. Lorenzino looks really strong right now. What effect, though, is his medium compound tyres going to have towards the end of the race? Because they're going to be gone towards the end.
Well, that's going to be the big question, isn't it, James? That's going to be the massive question. How long will these mediums last on Lorenzino's car? And is he going to be able to get to the front of this train on the mediums? And if so, will there be any more safety cars or virtual safety cars to help him out if it comes late into this race? That's what Lorenzino will be open for, as he's all over the back of Checkered now. Great little run out of Junchao is what he needs as they climb up the hill. And it looks like Checkered just gets a little bit away from him in a straight line, and now using a bit of ERS to pull away is Checkered, and he's closing in on Tales here.
He is indeed down in towards turn number 1. Again, looks the inside line. little bit late on the brakes there, I've got to be honest, from Tales. Bit of a wing waggle there. I think that was a sorry from Tales there in third. Checker there in fourth. Lorenzino there in fifth. I think Tales didn't mean to do and make that little bit of contact. Fraser there in second. Tales there in third. Lorenzino, though, sends it to the inside of Checkered. Beautiful move by the GT10 man. GT10 are cooking tonight. Acid took the race win in race 1, and now Lorenzino's just pulled off a move up from the absolute gods into turn 4.
Yeah, Lorenzino is on a charge right now on those medium tyres, but there is that overhanging question, James, of how long will these mediums last? He's going to send one down the inside on Tales, so...
Never going to work. Never going to work. Hold the position. If I'm a GT10 engineer right now, hold the position, bring Tales into play down in towards turn 1 and then attack him. That's what I'd be doing if I was Lorenzino. Then again, though, Mike, I haven't actually won around this track, so I could speak absolute BS.
This is one that I have run around, won the race around before.
That's exactly
what I said. Penalties, but I won it.
That's exactly why I've just said what I said. And Exotic Plains late on the brakes, checking I think a little bit early on the brakes of the AMS man. Exotic Plains has lost his left side end plate damage on the car, and now all hell might break loose down the straight in towards turn number 3 and 4. Exotic Plains inside line. He's going to be half a car length ahead and down in towards turn number 4. There's a bit of contact between them both. Check it off on this contact. And S29 is out of the race, and that's a VSE. VSE deployed out on track. And in the end, S29 and Gabsa both out of the race. Oh no, S29 the only one out of the race. Sorry, and it's a safety car.
That to me looked like massive desync right there, James.
It kind of did. Yeah, I've got to watch that back, to be honest. It happened a little bit too quick for my liking. I'm going to have to watch that back on the stream. But in the end, what, again, can only be described as, I don't know, idiotic racing. Could I use that? I think I can. We're past the watershed. Absolute idiotic racing, I think, is what is going on right now. Everyone else, I think, is behaving fine at this moment in time. Exotic Plains, all of that came from him rear-ending the back of Checkered down in towards turn number 1. Checkered there in 8th position. Exotic Plains is there in 5th. Stewards are going to have their work cut out. Standards of driving's poor. Do we really want to cover the next 10 laps is my next question.
I think we have to, obviously, for the drivers that are behaving out there on track, and you know, they deserve it. You know, just to go to the end of this race, and obviously with 10 laps to go, James, we're gonna see some variation here because a couple of guys have chucked on a set of soft tires.
Yeah, Dima and Caliblu are the ones on a set of soft compound tires. Caliblu, I believe, was a former, I can't remember the team, but he's a very quick driver on his day with DLX. He might be one to watch out for on that set of soft compound tires. Demon the same as well. FRC on a set of soft compound tires. Everyone else is on a set of mediums. Personally, Mike, if I was out on track, I would have personally gone for a set of mediums rather than a set of softs.
Yeah, you want to make sure you got enough grip all the way to the end of this race, but maybe Diamond and Caliblu, looking at what happened in race 1 and showing that the soft tires did go around about 10 laps and think that maybe they could get to the end, but I don't think the safety car is going to be out long enough for them to really take advantage of it. Yeah,
definitely so. Obviously Discord kicking off as well because of incidents that have happened out on track as well. I urge every single one of you to behave yourselves. Timeout and slow mode will come if you do not. Supply Raptor leading the way. Fraser there in second. Talas there in third. Mace raises a really good point, by the way, out on track. Out in the comment section there, even. Have to question letting certain teams in next season. I totally agree. I completely agree. I'm going to be one that's running EML alongside the admin team next season. And from my perspective, from being an admin and also from being a commentator, standards of driving here have not been good enough to let a couple of teams in terms of the racing, at least from this race. We have to review it across the full season, but in the end, EML has a duty to everyone to bring the best teams on console here to an event like EML Season 8. And we can't have that if we have standards of driving that's going to negatively impact the season. And unfortunately, Mike, that's what we've seen not once, not twice, but maybe even 3 times tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, it does kind of put a little bit of a dampener on a fantastic championship this side around with these incidents. But I mean, for some drivers and it's just gonna have to be about taking a long look in the mirror. For some teams and as well, it's gonna be just a bitter pill to swallow. And for some drivers and they must be out there thinking, how can my luck get so bad?
Yeah, and it's well, with the incident that happened earlier on, for example, Mathis, you've got to feel sorry for his internet out of his control, really. Gabs and Monza, that incident could have easily been avoided. That 3 wide down and towards turn 1 that we had with Kevin's, it wasn't Fraser, it was, who was it for CPI? Can't remember.
It was Finley, wasn't it?
Finley. And, Inwa, I think it was, or Unwa, even, for VMV. Those 3, in the end, that incident could have easily been avoided. And it's just silly incidents that have been picked about on track. But in the end, what is going to happen now is Supply Raptor is going to get us back underway. Virtual safety car is now coming in. Supply Raptor gets us back underway and absolutely obliterates the start. 3/10 through of Fraser, down in towards turn 1. Perfect restart for FRT. Perfect restart for Tales around the outside line. Trying to get the move done. Doesn't in the end. Tales doesn't want to make contact with CPI and Fraser. They're in second. Tales there in third. Geekin, though, makes a very good start. The Aston Martin team running down the hill now. Into the left-hand return number 4. Sierra Esports looking to try and get in with a move. And Geekin gets the move. Beautiful in the end. In the end. Is a bit of desync going on between Tales and Geekin. I can't tell up the hill in towards turn number 6. But in the end, Tales Looney's into third, Geekin there in fourth. And that's why, because I think Lorenzino has not got right side and plate damage. I thought he did though.
Geekin getting the move done there. Fantastic lunge down the inside from him to get that move done. Close right up to Tales. I didn't see no desync on my end, James. So I think we're okay on that one for the time being. However, I am going to go back and check with checkered 2 seconds because potential desync on checkered is still up in the air.
Yeah, Dima's got the move done on Lorenzino. Lorenzino's definitely struggling on that car. He must have some form of front wing damage on that car for him to be that slow against Dima, who's only on a lap pressure tyres than them. Checker looking to the inside down there on the back of Calablu in towards turn number 1. Can't find the way through. The EMS man, at the moment in time, I'm right on board with them. There doesn't look like there's desync on the car, and certainly proving that, I think, down in towards turn number 4. Checker looks fine. I think it was, as I say, Mathis's internet connection rather than anything that was causing the desync early on. He retired out of the race. Right thing to do in my eyes for the EVE man. Obviously, it takes him out of the race. EVE will be annoyed at that. But in the end, sometimes you can't help technology. Sometimes you can't even help your own internet connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we've both been victims of poor internet connections. As Checkered sends one down the inside of Calablu there. So we are side by side with the Ferrari and the Alpine as they head down in towards Jinshaw, and it's Checkered that gets out on top.
And Fraser, I think, is going to get out on top on Supply Raptor down the straight as well. Important for the championship, this overtake. I think Supply Raptor, honestly, needs to fall completely through the field at this point. Otherwise, it'll be absolute curtains for CPI. Fraser getting the move done. 3 wide down the straight. That's how you go 3 wide. That's how you get a move done. Exotic Flames into 7th position in the lead of that battle. Calablu there and 8. Checkered there and 9. Checkered clearly struggling for AMS in that car. Looks to fall to the inside line. Down the hill and towards turn number 4. Shouldn't go for the move. Does go for the move in the end on Calablu. And do you know what? That's clean as anything. Checkered for his inside. Calablu in 9th. Even EML Tier 2 teams can drive clean. That's showing up. As Fraser leads the way. The silence there was just deafening from White. Fraser leads the way. Supply Raptor second. Tales in third. Geekin there in fourth. Got to talk about Geekin. There for Sierra Esports. They're in fourth. On the back of Tales. On the back of Supply Raptor. On the back of Fraser. All 3 of them really good drivers. Geekin, my first time commentating them, unless he's been under a new name, he's absolutely charging on the back of these 3, and he's making them look pretty ordinary. He's getting tap-toe down the straight. But at the minute, Geekin is hanging on for grim life on the back of these guys, who are very competitive guys. Fraser now drops to P3. Tales very late on the brakes on Supply Raptor. Nearly pulls off the move, but he doesn't in the end. Supply Raptor leads. Tales second. Fraser there in third. It's going to get spicy between the front 3. Geekin, as I say, though, is just dropping back in terms of the pace. But now, he'll begin to get back into it because these guys are fighting, they're fighting aggressively. All of a sudden, Supply Raptor's down in third, and this race is changing hand over fist.
Yeah, it is literally swinging back and forth between these three, and Gigan's just sitting back, waiting for his opportunity to pounce on one of these drivers up ahead and try and snag a late podium here.
Definitely so. Lorenzinho, not even out of this fight. Dima, not out of this fight either. Anything could happen in this battle. We've got, what, 4 laps to go? 5 laps to go even? After this one's complete, Tales leads the way. Fraser there in second. Supply Raptor there in third. Tales, the Brazilian, can he win it? Can the homeboy hero win it? Not like a mistake like that, though. Coming out of Jun Sao at turn 12, bit of a snap of oversteer, brings Fraser and Supply Raptor into play. Supply Raptor sensing now the move on the back of Fraser. Could be 3 wide down the straight. Is 3 wide down the straight. That's how you go 3 wide down the straight, and that's how you pull off a double overtake around the outside. Supply Raptor into the lead of the race. Fraser second, Tales there in third. Brilliant racing all around.
Yeah, fantastic then for the three of them. Showing us how to go 3 wide and that down in towards turn number 1. As Tales down the inside of Fraser into turn number 4 to see the Delago, and job done from Tales. But I think Fraser's still got his nose alongside.
Oh, beautiful.
And he's going to tuck in behind.
Beautiful racing by Tales, beautiful racing by Fraser. These guys know each other very well indeed. PSGL, PSF2, back in the day, alongside other leagues as well. They've competed in Legacy Division around here before. They know how to race. Tales there in second, Fraser there in third. Brilliant, brilliant racing, I've got to say. Supply Raptor completed, as I say, that double move. He had the overspeed completely around the outside, completed that double move. In the end, one of the most insane moves I think I've seen all season in the Challenge Cup. Supply Raptor leads the way. Tales there in second, Fraser in third, but for how long? Because Tales now is going to come back, biting at Supply Raptor's bum cheeks, down in towards turn number 1. The RB against the Williams, tries to power off the throttle. In the end, Tales does not want anything to do with it, but in the end, it's his own downfall, because he nearly makes contact with the back of Supply Raptor. Fraser's in play, Geekin's in play, Lorenzinho in play. Tales has fought that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Fraser would have been looking at his eyes as wide as dinner plates at that point, thinking the championship could be back on for CPI, but no. Supply Raptor able to hold onto the car, and Fraser doesn't catch a break here, but he's almost into the back of Simple Rappers. Geekin still holding on there. Lorenzinho holding on to the back of Geekin as well. And Exotic Planes now in this battle.
Exotic Planes in this battle indeed. Let's just put it this way. There's a battle for first down to 8 at this stage in the race. Anybody could still win this. This is how aggressive the racing has been, I think, tonight in race 2. Supply Raptor on the back of Tales. There was a little bit of miscommunication between them both, but there's going to be no miscommunication here because Fraser is absolutely charging, maybe parting the Red Sea like Moses through the middle, down the inside line, in towards turn number 1. Supply Raptor a little bit later on the brace, gets the move done around the outside, holds on to the race lead. Fraser there in second, Tales there in third. Tales right on the back of Fraser, coming through the left hand of the centre S at turn 3. Now down the hill, down the Retro Buster, down towards the Cedar Lago. Fraser comes back now at Supply Raptor. CPI against FRT. Championship crucial for CPI. In the end, Supply Raptor defends like an absolute lion. Exotic Planes and Lorenzinho swapping positions as well. Planes now clearing into pit. EVR now looking all of a sudden quite strong.
Yeah, Exotic Planes clean around the outside of the Delago as Lorenzinho into the back of Exotic Planes, eh?
Contact between Checker and Dima in the background. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, as I just went on to Dima, then ghosting still from the contact. But Exotic Planes clean around the outside of Lorenzinho through the Cedar Delago. As now we're about to come on to the penultimate lap, James. This is all going to be about positioning yourself perfectly for the final lap. Right now, Fraser probably will get the move done on Supply Raptor, but Tales is going to be hoping to sit in P2 on this at the end of this straight. As here we go now.
No.
Chicken.
I think at the minute, if I'm looking at who, in terms of this battle, is going to potentially come out on top, Fraser will have to sit back in behind and Supply Raptor. They're all going to have to sit in behind. If I'm thinking of how this race is going to develop right now, Tales is in the best seat in the house. Actually, Deacon, all of a sudden on the outside line, tries to pull it up to CM Esports on the outside line through turn number 5, in towards turn 6 of Ferrajura. God almighty, it's kicking off. Florentino now to the inside line. Nearly Exotic Plains getting the move done around the outside. Now on the outside line for turn number 9. Hung out to dry. Geek in there in 4th. Plains there in 5th. EVR looking for the move to the inside line. On the back of Sierra Esports. Can't find the way through. Supply Raptor leads the way. Fraser there in 2nd. Tales there in 3rd. What I was about to say, before all of that happened, Tales has got the best seat in the house. With how this race, I think, is going to develop, Fraser and Supply Raptor, maybe not necessarily going for the move this time around. It'll be next time around. Tales in the best seat in the house if anything happens ahead. Final lap.
Yeah, as you goes Fraser through on Supply Raptor in towards turn number 1. And Talis is just going to sit in behind them, wait for his opportunity as we're about to come around. Oh, this is going to be fantastic on the run down to Cia Delago now. As here comes Supply Raptor back at Fraser, but is he going to be close enough to go for the move? No, he's going to sit in behind. And it's all going to be James about to run out of Jun Chao.
Yep, run out of Jun Chao, run down the hill and towards 10:15. Out of Sabina Box boxes, that's where it's going to come down to. Geek and Exotic Plains, you can probably factor out of this battle right now. Tales right on the back of Supply Raptor. Supply Raptor on the back of Fraser. At this moment in time, FRT are winning the championship as it stands, even with Fraser going in 1st and Supply Raptor staying in 2nd. FRT have too many points over CPI to try and bounce back. Is CPI going to get the crowning glory out on track and essentially go for this race win and take it to the line? Fraser hanging on for grim life, 4/10 of a second, gap beginning to close. I don't think it's good enough though. Fraser's got the advantage on the run to the line. CPI take the final race in the Challenge Cup. Supply Raptor in the end of 2nd, and FRT wrap up the championship from a race that developed from earlier on, from race 1, that advantage swinging CPI out in race 1. FRT are your EML Challenge Cup champions in Season 7. Richly deserved. In the end, though, Fraser takes bragging rights over Supply Raptor out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And CPI as a team will be looking at that incident as the main reason how they were not able to take victory in this championship, and that is for sure. But FRT, as you mentioned, thoroughly deserved it. I mean, throughout the entirety of the season, it has been FRT versus CPI, and either one of those teams fully deserved taking the championship, and it's FRT out on top.
It is FRT out on top, and is that a sign of things to come? For the changing of the guard, potentially that's going to happen in 2025 in console. Are FRT here to play in EML? They have certainly proved that out on track in a delayed transition into the podium celebrations, by the way. That is not Brendan Lee at the top step of the podium. It is McLaren of CPI Fraser, who takes the race win out on track. I will skip the celebrations. I shouldn't have done that because it's a black screen. Ah, how you love 2024 to end with a nice black screen and no results. Anyway, I will try and get you the results from that race and what was an absolute thriller towards the end of the race. An absolute thriller, agonised, agony in the end. Oh, for FRT, for Supply Raptor even. Agony in the end for them. Out on track, but in the end they take it in terms of the championship. They take it over CPI. It's complete bragging rights going into EML Season 8. And judging by how we saw FRT and CPI do in EML Season 7, CPI are going to be wanting one back, I think, on FRT, because they did outperform them in EML last season.
Yeah, and I think CPI will be using this as motivation in going into Season 8 in EML to try to take the fight to FRT and any of the other teams that will be competing next season in EML, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's going to be really intriguing indeed to see how things get on out on track in terms of race 1 and race 2. Obviously, with how the stewarding will be decided, it's going to be a busy Christmas period, put it this way, for EML Challenge Cup. We'll try and get them out before the Christmas period, before Christmas Eve and all of that jazz. But what we can focus on is EML Season 8. It is done now. EML Challenge Cup out the window, job done. EML Season 8. This is the longest season in EML history, and it starts off round number 1 in about a month's time from now in Bahrain on January the 22nd. Before that, though, however, Mike, qualifiers, and I can exclusively reveal that we're having 2 tracks for qualifiers this season. For Season 8 of EML, we are going to be doing... I think it's released in the EML server, so I can actually mention this live on stream. I'm going to double check. We do 8th of January qualifiers, first 2 lobbies for the 2 teams, for all teams actually. Austria for the first qualifying track, and then the second one, you've just seen it, Brazil. So there we are. That's the qualifiers track on the 8th of January in, 3 weeks' time from now? So 3 weeks' time from now, Season 8 qualifying begins, 8th of January 2025. First lobby, 7 p.m. UK time. Make a note of the time for the Austrian Grand Prix. Everything will be filtered out, obviously decided, discussed in the Discord in the next couple of weeks on the lead up through the new year in towards qualifiers. Everything will be done. All the lobbies are getting allocated, all the drivers and the teams will get allocated as well. But looking at that qualifying lineup and looking at what we've got Bahrain round 1, Mike, Austria, Brazil qualifiers, 2 great tracks, 2 short tracks as well. Everything could come down to the 1,000th of a second, quite literally.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 2 qualifying tracks, but there's one small mistake, one small lockup could cost you everything.
It could cost you everything, and do you know what? It actually makes things a lot more interesting, I think, in terms of how qualifiers will go. And then obviously we go back into it 2 weeks later, January 22nd. It's Bahrain. It's round 1 of the championship, January 22nd. I cannot wait for EML Season 8 to start, not only because I dreamt up the calendar, so you can have me to thank for putting Monaco in there for round 5 and Hungary for round 6. We will see the best teams on console hopefully drive better than what they did tonight, and also we will see the best teams on console doing battle once again in EML, which we all love to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I echo that sentiment, James. 100%.
And also, I can tell you what teams currently have signed up as it stands. We have got FGE, Team IRT. There's quite a few in from last season. We've got XPG, we've got OVR, NLR signed up. Interesting. ERS Esports, we've got Formula 1 Academy Fronts, which I think are a new team. We've seen them here tonight. Deluxe Esports Team, DLX. GT10, AMS, Legacy Racing as well. And then we've got Avisio, VMV, FRC, QSL, CPI, Esports Peck, who sadly couldn't be here tonight, Sierra Esports, and then Total International Esports as well. If you do want to get your team signed up, please do so. Deadline, I think, is the 28th of December. I might be wrong on that date, but I'm pretty sure it is going to be closing very soon indeed. You want to get your sign-ups in for your teams right now. Please do so. Join the Discord server. Everything is in the description below. Join us for EML Season number 8. And I promise you, even though the standards might not be 100% perfect all the time, I trust you. You will have fun. You will enjoy yourselves. And there's also a talk about of an extended prize pool as well. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Yeah. Just
very interesting.
Yeah. May as well throw that in there. But it is going to be very interesting. Bahrain, round 1 of the championship, January 22nd. Qualifiers 2 weeks before that. Get your team signed up if you haven't already. Please do it in the next week or so, I would say. Maybe before Christmas Eve is when I would say to get your sign-ups in. And then everything will be decided, of course, throughout the Christmas period and into the new year. And all the teams and everything will be decided as well. We're going to leave it off here because my voice, as you can tell, is going. Michael Edwards has to tend to his wound on his face, which you can't see, which is very good because Mike doesn't want to show his face on camera. But it has been an absolute pleasure to cover EML Season 7 for the Challenge Cup. We go once again in 3 weeks' time for qualifiers, 8th of January. Be there or be squared is what I'm going to say. Mike, I'm going to leave it over to you. Any final thoughts?
Yes, roll on Season 8 and roll on 2025.
Roll on 2025 indeed. And it is going to be very interesting as well. Season 8, as I say, January 22nd, 2 weeks before that qualifies. Get your sign-ups in. We're going to end it off here. Big thank you to Mr. Michael Edwards for joining me in the commentary box. Big thank you to him for covering last week as well on solo comms, which was not easy, I can guarantee you that. And it's been an absolute pleasure to cover you once again for the EML Challenge Cup. Myself and Mike. I think we'll see you on the 8th of January. Mike hasn't confirmed yet if he's joining me, but we will both, I'm sure, see you on the 8th of January for EML Season 8 qualifying night. Be there or be squared. It's Austria and Brazil. Please take care of yourselves. Please enjoy yourselves over this Christmas period, over the New Year as well. Please, from all of us here at EML, Merry Christmas. Have a very happy, healthy, and hopefully 2025 will be the year for you. Thank you so much for watching, and until next year for EML, goodbye.